Call to order, Lawrence. Yeah, call to order, Lawrence Common Council. The date is December 4th. The time is 6:40. Pledge of allegiance and prayer, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Maria, would you mind doing a prayer, please? No? Okay.
Might be better. Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
Would you mind doing one, Lord? Fine, thank you.
Father God, we thank you for gathering us here today, just all together to talk about our wonderful city. Lord, I just pray for protection over the workers that are working tonight, the public safety officers, and people that are on the streets. Lord, I pray right now, Lord, that you just continue to help us move our city forward, touch us up here, and help us just to have a clear mind and to listen to one another and to just help us every moment. We love you, Jesus, and praise you in all things. Amen.
Amen. We do have a quorum, it looks like it, so that's good. All right. Next on the agenda is comments of council members and special recognitions or resolutions.
Mr. President, I have one. It's about the trash company. I wanted to know if they were going to charge us for heavy trash pickup. And the pamphlet that was mailed out to everybody was kind of quite confusing. So I just wish we could get some clarity on some of that.
Absolutely.
Mr. President, I would like to also second that. I had a few constituents reach out with concerns in regards to the trash pickup. They were, had to do with the heavy trash pickup days, and I believe that it went down from 4, I might be saying this wrong, but 4 to 2.
Right.
So there were some concerns just because as homeowners, I mean, that kind of puts some strain, so where are we going to put our stuff? So I just didn't know if we could get some clarity on that as well.
Yes.
This is a great conversation due to the fact that some of the constituents that I heard from is confused on when the totes are going to change. You know, the containers, are we going to, when are they going to be dropping off? Will they have enough notice so that they could put the old ones out and get the new ones? So there's a lot of confusion and conversation around this.
Absolutely. I wanted to chime in on that as well. Because of that heavy trash, I did have a couple constituents bring that to me. And now when I drove the neighborhood, people's, I know around the corner from me, there's a recliner out there, with folks. So we hope that they can get that stuff picked up quickly and not have the neighborhood looking bad. And so we appreciate that. I also had today, I got a text message from a constituent saying that their trash had not been picked up at all today. And I think today was supposed to be the first day of regular trash. So in my neighborhood, today was trash pickup, and so I had some of my neighbors say to me that the trash wasn't picked up. Now that was earlier today. I don't know if the truck came 5 or 6 o'clock this evening or something, but as far as earlier midday today, that was a concern. I will also say for the common good, there was some additional information that the city put out on the city website on Facebook. I read through that and tried to share that. I personally thought that it addressed some of the concerns that folks had. I thought it was a very informative Facebook post that came from the administration. But of course, a lot of our constituents are not on social media or whatever. So I can honestly say, on behalf of the council and the rest of us, we are the voices and faces within the community. So something like trash, it's really be great to keep us as informed as possible so that we can share those issues with our neighbors and stuff as we navigate through our daily lives and get the word out in the neighborhood.
Mr. President, I also have a question with that too, because I completely agree. When a constituent comes to us and asks us a question, or in moving forward, if they have heavy trash, where can they take it? Like, is there, I know Hamilton County has their own dump, but you can't go unless you're a Hamilton County resident. Where could we recommend that they go?
Well, I can tell you just from knowing, the dump is down Morris, you can go. But again, that's the reason why we have a heavy trash service, because, the dump is, I haven't been in a while, but I think it's $60, $70 or something like that.
And you, according to the information that's out there, you can pay
That's fine.
anytime as long as you give a 48-hour notice. There's a charge. So they will pick up your trash, more than the 2 times a year at a cost to you. So you have to notify them 48 hours in advance, and you have to pay in advance. I think the most concerning thing for me, and I don't know what the term of this trash contract is, but I hope it's short, is leaf pickup is only 1 month out of the year, November. That's huge. I don't know about your neighborhoods and the districts you live in, but, people have 15, 20 bags of leaves, September, October, November. So to go to just 1 leaf pickup in the month of November is a lot. And even if you're saying 2, that's not enough. So at any rate, we'll really be looking forward to getting that.
I also think it's good for constituents to know this. I learned about the trash contract when the community learned about it. We had no involvement in the process at all. I learned about it in the lift like everybody else. So I knew the contract was due this year, but we were not a part of the process. So I just want to make sure that folks know that that's such a significant contract. It's one of the biggest contracts we have. I'm sure that the administration followed the rules, but it never came before us. And I think that trash and sewer is one of the most, and streets are the most important things to constituents. And for us not to be involved with that is a little disappointing, but, that's just my say.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I believe the trash pickup contract was Department of Public Works, and I was on one of those committees.
Right. Well, it never came in front of the complete board. That's all I'm saying. And folks would think that something that significant would come in front of us. Also, too, I thought we passed a resolution that said that anything over $25,000 was supposed to come in front of this body, but I'm not an attorney, so I digress. But I just wish that we would have been involved beyond the parliamentary issues for the constituents and for us. I just think it looks bad when people ask us, and I don't have any more information than they do. I mean, so especially when it comes to trash, those are basic things. Anyway, those are my comments. Anyone else? We can keep it moving. Okay. Everybody's good for that? All right. That's good for the order. All right. Approval of minutes of regular meetings on November 6th, 2023 and November 15th, 2023. Please entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Councilor Wells, seconded, Councilor Freeman. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Aye? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next on the agenda is signing of the vouchers, approval of claims, and authorizations of payments. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Councilor Wells. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Councilor Whitfield. Any discussion?
I was provided a copy of the vouchers by the clerk at about 5:45. I know most of you couldn't have reviewed them because you didn't receive them. So at a very quick view, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to state that for the record. We did not receive the vouchers ahead of this meeting.
We can, if folks want to take some time now to take a glance, or we can continue to move forward. We'll move forward? All right. Okay, so seeing any further discussion? Seeing none? I will entertain a motion for approval.
Make the motion.
Yeah, we already did.
Oh, I'm sorry, motion second, I'm sorry, I mean, the vote, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you.
Just a comment.
Yeah, seeing no discussion, we entertain a vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, reports of committees. We had the Economic Development Committee meet just before the meeting today. Madam Chair?
There's one thing, I'm sorry, I need to digress a minute.
Okay, okay. We'll hold.
And maybe, Corey, maybe you can answer this question. There's two invoices on here, 1346 and 1347. Therefore, the description is 2324 retainer and app professional counseling services. Can you just tell me what that is, please? And it could be tied to public safety. It could be something that, but I just don't know what it is, so I'm just asking.
What page is that on?
It's on page 8 of 15.
Okay.
1346 and 1347. One's for 2,500 and one is for 6,250. I just want to know what they are.
My 8 of 15 is different. That's why I'm looking at.
Glad I printed that,
Thank you.
because I didn't have one I got here either. I had to call Tyler. I never saw him.
He sent the original.
I signed these an hour later. And for your next trick.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
What is it again? I didn't quite hear you, I'm sorry.
Tactical did our mental health counseling service for local police and fire.
Oh, for our officers and
Thank you
firemen.
for that.
Great,
Thank you for that clarification.
No, that's a good service. See, that's important, to know what that is. That's good stuff. Okay.
Okay, so then we have the overview. The committee met, and we discussed the proposal, and we had Mr. Harris and several of his legal counsels come forward, answer questions, and give us an overview. We did not make a recommendation as a council, but as you all know, this has been heard several times in committee, so, it's okay. We can move on this or do whatever the will of the council is as far as this proposal is concerned.
So for
Was a public hearing, I do want to say that, on November 29th, and it was recommended by unanimously, my understanding, by the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority as well as the Economic Development Commission. So those are two other items I wanted to call out.
Councilor Whitfield, did you have something?
Yes, I was going to say, at this particular time, then there's no recommendation from the Economic Development Committee?
No, we really honestly ran out of time. We were running into our normal council meeting, but I knew that it would not preclude us, so I made the decision to adjourn the meeting and to, continue any dialogue that we need to have as a part of this meeting.
Thank you for your clarification.
You're welcome.
Is there any questions that, well, I guess that we can open up questions when we get to the actual proposal.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
may I? Just to address a question back to the counselor, chairperson of the Economic Development, are you suggesting that during tonight's meeting that we might have a greater ability to have questioning and so forth, some dialogue?
Yes, I think President Giles will allow that. And so when we get to that in the agenda, we'll certainly do that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Any further? Okay. All right. First thing moving on to the next portion of our agenda, unfinished business. We'd like to have the clerk read Proposal 12 by title, please.
Proposal number 12, 2023, introduced by Councilor Chevlot, Russell, and Wells, a proposal for an ordinance establishing compensation for elected officials for the city of Lawrence, Indiana for the year 2024.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
So President Giles, I believe that that's still in committee. I do not believe that that has even been heard. And a recommendation made, or no?
It was passed out of finance in October.
On date, October. So why have we been tabling this whole time then?
I think that for the pending election, they didn't feel comfortable voting on it.
Okay.
But all three of those proposals passed out
Okay.
of finance in October. And I called Denny after the last meeting and told him that.
I don't believe they did. I believe we took a portion and held this one
Yep.
in committee.
Yep, that's what I recalled.
Okay, I don't have that in my notes from the committee meeting, but
I think.
I thought it passed
since
out.
Counselor Denning, the finance chair, is not here, I would make a recommendation that the finance meeting happen prior to our mid-month meeting, and that a recommendation is made and we can vote at that time. We just need to have this resolved before 12/31.
I was going to ask that question.
That would
Thank
be
you.
my recommendation.
Okay, perfect. I am sorry for that. We'd had some discussion with the last council meeting about that, and that's what I thought it had already been through. So I apologize for that. So this is still in committee, and for the record, we would like to see a finance committee meeting before our mid-month, and we'd like to vote on this in the mid-month. All right, moving right along then. So this will stay in finance committee. Resolution number 10. Have the clerk read by title, please.
Resolution number 10, 2023, introduced by Councilor Denny, a resolution to adopt application form and evaluation rubric for community services grants from the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana.
All right.
That meeting will be prior
Yeah, 'cause-
to our mid-month. We did try to meet on this the last time, but we did not have a quorum.
Okay, because that's what I was trying to figure out. So this is still in committee as well, because the committee was not able to address it, and we don't have a quorum, so that will stay in committee as well. I'll have to start attending more committee meetings, looks like, All right, that's not a committee I'm on, but I'll have to appoint myself sometime. All right, so proposal number 14, if we can have the clerk read that by title, please.
Proposal number 14, 2023, introduced by Councilor Freeman, a proposal for an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana Economic Development Revenue Bonds, Harrison Ford Properties LLC project, federally taxable, and the lending of the proceeds thereof to Harrison Ford Properties LLC, and authorizing and approving other actions in respect thereto.
All righty. So this is what we did meet on just in the Economic Development Committee. And so I would entertain a motion. I'll make a motion.
Sorry,
I'll make a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. Sorry,
Yes.
Just for clarification for the record, what is your recommendation? Is it a favorable recommendation for approval? No.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll make a second.
Excuse me, Mr. President, I'm sorry, I may be confused. I thought that we would have this opened up for more questions and maybe further presentation. I believe I only caught part of the
preceding committee meeting, and I believe Mr. Zerner was wanting to speak on some issue. Is that possible that we might
Right.
open
It would
this
be
up
now,
a bit
since we got a
more?
motion, we can have discussion.
Okay,
Yeah, I wanted to get a motion so we can have discussion.
okay, thank you.
Yes. So, I'd like to invite back, I'm so sorry, sir. Yes. Back up to the podium.
What's the clarity of the motion that you put forth?
Motion to approve.
Approve, okay.
Motion to approve. It was moved, motion made and seconded by Russell.
And again, Mark Cannon, C-A-N-N-O-N, and I'm general counsel for Harrison Ford Properties.
So, Mr. Cannon, for those, I guess, you kind of gave us a quick little synopsis in the committee meeting, when you kind of made some clarity on, who was liable for the bond and that sort of deal. Maybe you can kind of give that to us real quickly again for those that may not have been in attendance, and then maybe that will start some dialogue.
So just generally what we're asking.
Right, again, yes.
Got it, okay. So Harrison Ford Properties owns, I believe it's 10 acres of property, and there's an undeveloped property that we own that between our existing warehouse and the BP. So we've done a lot of work up to this point to improve the drainage and of the properties for not only us, but our neighbors, including Foamcraft, and a rail spur come to our existing warehouse to allow us to bring in bulk materials to reduce the amount of trucks coming in. And we're converting our existing warehouse to a blending. We have some customers that want us to take several chemicals and blend them together before we send them out. So now we'll be able to do that in-house as opposed to sending it out to third parties. So, and because of all that, now we're running out of warehouse space. So we want to build a new warehouse office right next to it. Because of the additional costs we've incurred and inflation and everything else, and we are asking for a portion of the tax increment for our investment. The bond will, the assessed value of the property will grow based on our investment, and I think we've estimated about $30 million for of all the improvements we've done. We would like a portion of those increased revenue from the taxes to come back to us to help offset the costs and finance the project. So 100% of the bond will be coming from the additional taxes we paid. And by statute, that those funds the city is 100% not liable. So they all come from taxes we paid. I think somebody, the way they described it to me, is like a Menards rebate. We're going to pay taxes, then we get that back after it's gone up. So if we don't do the project, there's no increment, and the city doesn't owe us anything. And we will own the bond, so there won't be a third party involved that would get in the middle of what we're doing and what the city's doing.
If I may?
Yes, please.
Sir, so that I understand this correctly and for the benefit of the community as well, if I understand how the bond will work, and please correct me where I've misunderstood, the costs that the increased assessed valuation of the property that will occur due to your investment, correct? So let's just use $10, just roundabout.
I'm good with round numbers.
Make math easy.
Sure.
So you're going to put a $10 investment, let's say,
Okay.
and the city would get an additional tax revenue based upon that increased assessed valuation,
Correct.
right? So that, let's say it's 1% of that $10 goes back to the city.
Okay.
But in your case, with this bond, 80% goes to the city and 20% goes back to pay off your bond. I'm just making up
Sure,
numbers.
yeah.
Just for argument's sake.
Right.
Because that question, I believe, was raised by Councilor Giles earlier of what it would actually occur. The city would not bear any requirement to repay any of this, obviously, we understand that. But the opportunity cost, wherein the taxpayer, the tax base, the real dollar would not be increased due to your investment, would be lost. Is that?
So if what you're saying is that if we go ahead and do this project and not get bond financing, then the city would get 100% of the proceeds. Is that what you're?
That's my contention, for you to clarify where I misunderstood.
No, that is 100% correct. If the city does not issue a bond and we go forward with the project and it increases the tax base, the city would keep 100% of the tax. However, and I think it was also mentioned in the meeting that, Tim Harris has been a part of the has been part of the fort since the beginning. He's also got a church and a school in Lawrence. He lives in Lawrence, so he's made a major commitment to the city. Has never come before the council for any help in this, such as a bond or anything. But we are a global company. We sell chemicals around the world, and we get approached a lot by other states to increase our footprint there because we have customers throughout the world. So the risk to the city would be if Mr. Harris feels like the city doesn't want to help him invest and grow the business, which helps the community. We're going to be bringing more jobs to the community and growing the tax base. And this, we're not asking for land that's could be sold to another. This is the property we currently own. Then the potential risk would be that that might send a signal. We would go to communities that might be more willing to offer incentives, which just about it's a standard practice that communities are offering these kind of incentives. So
Monarch building's empty.
I'm sorry?
Monarch is leaving us real soon.
Yeah.
And TIFs in general have been used throughout all of the United States in many locales, but their original purpose was designed for those areas that are experiencing strife and need a little help in order to redevelop or re-incentivize or bring back businesses. But you're a booming, lovely business with your own railroad spur that you will use specifically only for your use, correct?
Correct.
Right, and that's a wonderful improvement to the community, and we are 100% in favor of the lovely development you've done out there, the pollinator garden, all of those sort of things. But I personally get a little concerned about the ability for taxpayers, in some respects, to underwrite booming businesses by the opportunity cost that they cannot recoup that tax base that, if not for the bond, they would have 100%, not 80%. This is my personal opinion. Now, I will also say there was a comment brought up wherein there was some consideration of the next council. And I did not run for re-election, and I will not be on the council next time. So I'm a little bit concerned that I would put my opinion in on this particular development that I think might be better served by the next council and their opinion on it. But that's my 2 cents. I think I will vote to abstain because of all of those reasons. But I still personally have a bit of a problem from time to time when so many booming businesses come in and are asking essentially for a lift when maybe they don't need that lift, and it's an opportunity cost to the rest of the community, when there's other places that all are experiencing strife and do need a little extra incentive. But for all other reasons, absolutely, your business is wonderful. We're 100% behind it, and we don't want to do anything to limit it, hurt it, or in any way have any type of negative connotation to it. But do you see again, we represent constituents, we represent taxpayers, and I just had to put forth that comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Small.
I think that's some.
Any other folks with any other comments? Councilor Wells?
Sorry, someone wanted to make a clarification.
Hi, Mr. President, if I may.
No. Councilor Wells, did you have something?
Yeah, I did have a question or a concern. Listening to the hearing earlier before the meeting, Councilor Giles had asked about your zoning, and I was concerned about that as well, and I done some research to best of my ability. I could not get a definitive as to what exactly the property is zoned for, and I would think that if you're talking about a multi-million-dollar project, if someone asks you what the zoning is, I mean, that'd come right out of the tip of your tongue. You would know that immediately. And so I guess my question is, what if the zoning is not appropriate, you get the bond, then what, does the money just stay in limbo? Does it not get transferred anywhere? And does the city actually oversees the bond money, I guess, and gives it out to you guys in disbursements? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, go ahead and answer it.
Anyway, that was.
So this is Dan Zerner. I wanted to speak to the zoning issue at the right time.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
The property is zoned industrial. It's categorically zoned industrial. We approved it as industrial. We approved their permits as industrial. It's totally industrial with no zoning required.
It's I what?
I believe it's 2, but I didn't go that far. It could be 3, but I think it's 2.
2, okay.
That would be an IU.
But it is categorically industrial.
He says I2 or I3, but he's confirming that it is industrial zoned. That's good to know, though. Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
One other question, if I could, please. And if this is not allowable, I'll withdraw the question, but I'm just curious, a business of your size, why is it you don't have the company name on the building?
I'm going to answer you honestly, because I didn't want it.
Please.
I'm going to, because I didn't want it on there. Same way as on our business cards, have no title on our business cards. Indiana Regional Minority Supplier Development Council, Don Jones came and said, you're required to have your name visible from the parking lot. He said, to be certified as a minority-owned business. And I said, Don, come right here. And we stood in my parking space. And you could look through the window and it says, welcome to Harris and Ford. So, Rick, let me answer you on the reason why. I preach about this pretty often, but I won't preach a sermon. But my grandfather was Obadiah Harris. Killed a man, okay? I didn't get to know my grandpa. My dad only went to the 7th grade, okay? He had to quit school, and he had to work to provide for his family because of Grandpa Harris being on Spring Street in Columbus, Ohio for murder. So we met our grandfather. When he got out of prison, my brother Obadiah, 2 years older than me, Obadiah 3, ran up and gave him a hug, and he hit him in his mouth, knocked his teeth out, okay? Now back home in Chillicothe, there's a stadium, the nicest stadium in southern Ohio. It's called the Obadiah Harris Sports Complex. You can Google that. Ohio State goes down there and practices for their marching band. 8 years old, I died on the operating table, and they came out and told my mom they lost him. She said, God said, I'm not going to take your child. And so she prayed. Here I am, Rick. So when I look at me, not when you look at me, when I look at me, I recognize I shouldn't even be here. So it's hard for me to put my name on stuff that God did, okay? That's the only reason why there's not a name on our building, is because I didn't want the name on the building. And I get to stand before folks like here or on Capitol Hill before Congress at the House Ways and Means Committee and tell my story. I get to go to Coke and be the keynote speaker, and Procter & Gamble and be the keynote speaker. And when they ask me how I've been successful, I get to tell them what I believe, that it's God, that it's not Tim Harris. So that's the answer to your question. That's the only reason why the name is not on the building and no titles on my card, because I chose not to do it. That's why.
I thank you.
Yeah.
Now, the technical question that you asked,
Technical question?
the first question okay, he answered that about the zoning. That was the question we
Right.
had. Okay, I'm sorry. I know Miss here too was going to say something, and
I just add one more clarification. Now, I gotta go. I got like 10,000 pastors the first Monday of each month, literally. Africa, Europe.
last time, every month then, because that was last time too.
And I've got to go do this webinar with them. But what we keep talking about, it seems like, and I could be way off base, I'm a chemical engineer. I got my MBA from IU, but I'm a chemie, that's what I really am. But I think I'm missing something, because when we're talking about opportunity cost, here, this is different. You're not talking about a business coming in that you're trying to attract into the city. What you're talking about is we bought 10 acres and we only used 3.5. Now, we bought the pond next door so we could clean up that cesspool that was in our city, Lawrence, okay? And so that's why we had to spend $5.5 million for the rail, is to clean up that pond area and the drainage. Lawrence's problem, we helped fix that. But what we're talking about here is Harrison Ford owns 6.5 more acres that sit there idle, that had a meth lab in that area that Phonecraft said at night they were tapping into their water and things like that. And so what we're saying is we want to spend money and make that warehouse. We made an offer on another project that was over 500,000 square feet, okay? That offer was accepted. That has been delayed, not because of the buyer, but because of the seller's books, okay? In the meantime, what I wanted to do is go ahead and build a 141,000 square foot warehouse. And when you talk about zoning, it's no different than what we've done here since 1998. We want to build a warehouse, a warehouse. Are we zoned for a warehouse? We've been here since 1998 running a warehouse in the city. So I don't understand the complexity. Now, if you don't do anything, if you say, no, we're not going to support Harrison Ford, are we still going to build it? Maybe, maybe. It's not a threat to go somewhere else. My church is in Lawrence, 4501 North Post Road. We built a school that's A-rated by the Indiana Grade Book. Okay. When we went before the board years ago, they declined us getting a charter for our school. I still built the school, and I built a school that's one of the best schools in the state of Indiana. So Heritage will take every kid we got and their top student. Graduated from us 2 years early, went to Notre Dame, accepted in neuroscience at 16 years old, came from Turning Point, 4501 North Post Road. That's what we do. So will we leave Lawrence? No. Will we build this warehouse and do this expansion here in Lawrence? Or will we just let trees grow back on it? I don't know, and I really don't, because we do have 1 million square feet at 2525 North Shaland, 450,000 at 29 North Shaland, and 120,000 out at the airport on Kentucky Avenue. We already have rail there. We could put tanks and stuff and expand there.
But Mr. Harris, you've said it a few times, and I just want to be transparent with you, and I don't want to don't take offense to this, but some of us up here have crossed. We're not just counselors, right? So I know personally that warehouse space in Marion County is some of the most expensive right now in the region, right? It is right now. Warehouse space is super expensive. I was looking for some myself. So we understand that new construction is going to be cheaper. Our concern, and you said since you don't understand, our biggest concern is that we're in the business of running the city, and how do we increase the revenue? And then the other thing we always do is, do we set a precedent and do we set a trend of folks coming to ask? The other concern I want to let you know about the $7 million with the pond, I just want to put this out there. We approved as a council a sewer bond that has not been used by this administration yet. So in our opinion, we gave the city the money to already fix it. I don't understand why you had to fix our problem. You know what I mean? And so I understand, we appreciate it, but the truth be told, from a council perspective, we don't ask private businesses to fix city sewers. We do that, you know what I mean? And so whatever that was something we weren't a part of. And if you would have came to us and brought that, I'm sure many of us up here would have looked to our public service and would have maybe took the money there. So we've already bonded, right? There's a Keystone project going across the street. That's a bond, right? We just approved another tax abatement on the fort. So we're trying to make sure that we have a balance, because we have constituents, that are saying, hey, we don't get no breaks at our house, right? And so we're just trying to figure out how to do that. We also got Franklin Road to develop, hopefully in the next 4 to 8 years. And you spent $7 million on a pond, so I'm sure you can find 1.2 to build your warehouse.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to balance, but we don't have a lot of methods to make it.
Own project and other projects, and this will be my final say
Right.
in regards to this, period. I'll be done with this after this comment. I don't see, and you may have approved it for some other black-owned businesses, because I hear you say the Keystone Project, and I could go down a number of streets like that, that you granted this and granted that, and so you got one major black-owned business in the city.
And we respect that you're the largest MBA in the state. We know that. We're aware of that.
And so, I don't know if you've done anything to make it so that it's balanced. So
I agree.
let's get the same
I agree.
consideration
I agree.
as everybody else.
I agree.
We don't.
Well, I agree, and I'll leave you with this comment that she said too. This might be an issue for the next administration that I think will be very friendly to diversity and inclusion and equity. So.
And it's not our goal to take from somebody else either. That's not, it's got to be that we bring more value.
Absolutely, and you have. There's no doubt about that.
By being here.
We don't doubt that. We're just trying to figure out we have value. Thank you so much. All right. Is there any other technical questions? Oh, she had something to say. I really want to make sure that you say.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. My name's Angie Stino. I'm with Crow. I work with the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority and have for a number of years on a number of economic development projects. I just wanted to clarify one point, Councilor, that you had made about really that opportunity cost, and if they build it, it's retained, it doesn't go to our taxing units. I just wanted to point out that currently the operations are already in the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority TIF area, so there isn't any money coming to the city and those other units by this action. We're not changing that scenario, except for one positive that will be realized immediately, is that when, of course, the fort was created, you all know it was government-owned, tax exempt. Because this property now is private, with the new replat to be able to separate where this new expansion is going to occur, it now has a base value that will be distributed to the city, the school, the library. So immediately once this plat happens, if the TIF's created, it now has a base, where before it's always been zero. So about $1.8 million of assessed valuation will now be generating a small value, but a value nonetheless, to all of the taxing units immediately. The growth, of course, as you all know, will be retained to be able to use to repay the debt. However, there will be some immediate benefit to the taxing units And then also just pointing out, of course, a portion of that tax rate is for the school's referendum, and that is outside of the TIF as well. So they will continue to get that tax rate for operating. So I just wanted to point that to provide some clarity.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Thank you so much for hanging in there.
So when you say replatted, explain that to me, please.
Because this was one property, it gets a little bit confusing when it's already in a TIF area.
Oh, I'll understand it.
And we
Go
wanted to be
ahead.
able to really isolate what this project was generating itself. The reuse authority didn't want to provide and grant an incentive on something that was already there. So in order to really isolate the tax dollars generated from this new investment expansion only, we wanted to create a separate tax increment area around this property. And to make it the easiest and clear, so we know when the taxes are paid from this particular property, they get deposited into their own allocation fund. So it allows from a bookkeeping standpoint to know exactly how much tax dollars this property is now generating, this investment. So when they pay their taxes, 75% of those taxes then would go back to them to pay the bonds, and it's not commingled with the other TIF money. So we're not having to go back and kind of recalculate and do an exhibit every year and figure out how much of this big pool the smaller project is generating.
So the replatting will be a separation of this property from the TIF plat.
It does. It
essentially.
allows us to really be able to kind of draw the boundaries around this new investment. And because of that new investment and this new boundaries, it's private owned because it's owned by the company. And the assessor is going to provide some value to that. And when I had reached out on what that would look like, Marion County's assessor said, hey, based on everything that's out there, that new replat is going to have a base value of about $1.8 million. The taxes on that will start being distributed to the city for their general fund or other units of government that's within the taxing district.
And they'll have two different expiration dates, I'm assuming, or no?
They will. So this will have its own separate allocation area. It will start its new clock, kind of similar to, I would say, the Fort Living project. That was an identical one. It's outside of the larger Fort Harrison Reuse Authority original area.
But if we get, okay, the only click to that is this, I think, if I'm following correctly. There was a big push and conversation when Jason Fenwick was our controller. He educated me on the fact of the benefits of getting all of the fort developed so that then the TIF would, I don't want to use the word end because I don't know if that's quite the right word to use, but then we would get more of our funding, and so that was the benefit of us having development. So in my opinion, we look like we're only a few parcels left, if I'm correct, and so we've been, rocking and rolling, and I don't believe it's going to stop, right? So I believe that it's kind of fair that TIF may be over in the next 5 to 10 years, that's a fair deal. But this will be outside of it, so it'll be a 20 on its own.
It would be, but I would just also then remind you it's 20 on its own on a single individual parcel of just
Right,
that
but-
investment brought in.
right.
But exactly correct.
I just want to make sure that we're learning, because a lot of the conversation doesn't happen before you guys get here.
President Giles?
Yes,
and so,
please.
but the 20-year clock started on the existing.
The large allocation area, when that was created back, whenever that was, the 90s.
1997 is what they keep.
Yeah, whatever it happened, it's under its own statute.
Right.
It doesn't have a termination.
Right.
So it doesn't have that clock starting. Now, though, anytime you create a new tax allocation area,
Yeah.
your clock starts as soon as you incur your first obligation.
Yeah.
So as
That's a
soon
rule
as,
change.
as soon as, within the last, I don't know, I looked at council, I don't know what year that was.
Okay, to kind of help slow down maybe all these
Past
tips.
97.
It's been a
So
while.
it was grandfathered.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. So now, anytime there's an incur, and if you start something new, it's going to have its own clock. Fort Living is going to roll off first before this one, if you all would decide to move forward.
Right.
Its 25-year clock started as soon as that obligation was issued.
Okay. All right.
That's new
Anyone else?
information that we haven't received, so I appreciate that.
Really great perspective. No, thank you guys. That was a good one. All right. Any other questions?
Will there be a time frame demand on this project? For instance, if this is not voted on by the end of 2023, is that an issue for your project?
There's a base assessed valuation date
So yes is the answer, sounds like.
Yes.
Yes.
Short
And
answer, yes.
explain how it would negatively impact the revenues. If you could, please.
She's our financial expert.
I could pop back up here again. When you create a TIF area, that base assessed valuation, which really sets the baseline of the AV from the taxes distributed to the units, that's set as of January 1st. So as January 1st, we look back at this year and say, what's the value of my TIF? Okay, that's set.
Yep.
If the company were to start investing or start building on that value, on that property, say January 24 comes around, well, now you guys have started to, dig in the ground, maybe you put something up. I as an assessor, am gonna add that to your tax bill. If the TIF doesn't create it this year, my new base value is the value of my land, plus whatever the increase is. Maybe it's from just overall growth or property values going up, whatever that is. So then that would reduces the amount of increment, because now, my taxes are gonna be here. My base, I've already started kind of gaining it up. That increment now has shrunk some. Before it was here, I've now gotten here, and that reduces the amount of tax benefit that would go back to the company.
Okay, so, but what is that estimated to be at? January 2023 versus January 2024?
Oh, and that I couldn't answer. I don't know if the company even has plans to do anything before knowing what action is here. I'm just talking about the mechanics, so that I can't answer. I know from the base assessed value on conversations I've had with the county, they provided that, was zero. They're gonna give a base of 1.8 million. I don't know how the value would appreciate, from to 124.
Well, given that property values right now are still steady but high from COVID, basically, wouldn't they potentially stay at least high, or at least what 2023 is?
I really can't answer that. I'm not sure what the properties are. When you look at what TIF, there's a lot that goes with it. So every year as well, you have to neutralize the base. So these are all these fun terms that get thrown out at the state level, but really it's trying to take away just overall market moves. It really wants to be able to capture new investment. The whole purpose of creating the TIF area is because you have someone coming in who wants to invest new, not just simply because of an appreciation. So it'd really have to have, additional works at that area that could change that base value. But again, that's, I think, more of probably a response for the company than myself.
Giving you a little time to let the brain kind of cool down a little bit. Looking in your eyes and see the train moving. Thank you. I guess no. So, any further questions? Mr. Salisbury, are you trying to chime in here? I see you on the video now.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just speak up as loud as you can, but we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to bring up one point. I won't pretend to follow all that TIF jargon, but when you reference the sewer bond that the city took out, I think we should be clear that I think you're referring to the bond that was approved in September of 2022.
Yes.
That was for sanitary sewer work related to our EPA order. It did have nothing to do with stormwater. And it was a stormwater problem that Harrison Ford fixed, which did actually benefit the city.
Okay, because they used the word sewer, not stormwater.
Right, so, I just wanted to make that clarification.
We appreciate that clarification. So let me ask you this, as I got you on, we made no investment from the city on this project?
No.
Wow.
Matter of fact, the Harrison Ford actually helped us out additionally by granting us a sanitary sewer easement to address an actual sanitary sewer problem.
Okay.
And they granted us that easement at no charge.
Okay, great. Great to know. Please go ahead, get another question.
Another question were you provided an estimate of what the payment would be to the city?
Or to the
Reuser for it.
Yeah.
Are you speaking to the base value? I just calculated it myself. Yeah. So, let me pull it up. So estimated, I think, annual TIF revenues. Pardon me? The split and the base. So there's estimated annual property taxes paid by the company is approximately $235,000.
Okay.
Of that, 176,000 will be diverted to repay the bonds. And that will leave about 58,000 to be retained by the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority. That would, of course, then would go back into the greater Fort Harrison to help with, public improvements projects in the area. On the base value, which is about $1.8 million, that revenue, I calculated, oh shoot, I didn't write it down. I can do it really quickly. Let me do it as I'm sitting here. Okay. Let's see. Give me 1 minute.
No problem. We appreciate you breaking it down for us. I thank the constituents in the crowd for being patient with us as we get in this technical side of things.
The property taxes paid on the base is approximately $44,000.
Okay.
So currently, today, it's zero.
So then if I'm doing my math right, you add the 44 and the 58, and that would be
You
what
want
would,
to add the 58, because the 58 would not go into the general fund.
50,
only
yeah, the 58
44.
would be retained by the reuse authority.
Yeah,
oh, the 44 is going to go in the general fund.
well, yeah.
Yeah, to the city and, well, our
The
split.
44 will be shared, so it won't
Right.
unfortunately be all coming.
Schools and the library and, yeah, but we'll get our fair
But you'll get
portion
your
of the
proportion
44.
of your tax rate of that dollar value. That is correct.
Okay. So, okay. And whatever that 58,000 number,
That's Fort Harrison.
that goes to Fort Harrison. The 176 will be for the next, will be.
Bond issue.
To the bond, and that bond is 20 or 25 years?
The bond issue, we are assuming a 25 years. However, after construction, the real benefit of it going back to the company is roughly 20 years because there's the construction period. Well, 20, I thought the incentive was 20 years. Okay, so my apologies, 20 years.
So 235 is the total amount of taxes that that they supposed to pay. 176,000 of it will be diverted, or in approximate. I know it may fluctuate, whatever, but 176,000 of that will be diverted to debt service for the next 20 years. 58,000 will go to the reuse authority, and 44,000 will be split amongst services that citizens do, schools, city, a public library, maybe bus. I think maybe bus gets some of that too, if I'm not.
That's correct, Mr. President.
All right, I'll be trying, man. I'm trying. All right. So, man, that lays it out there, guys. I don't know if we have any further questions. We can move the agenda along. We'll move this along. Okay. No further questions. I mean, it's out there. All right. Here it is. I think I would call for. I will entertain well, we already got a motion for approval.
You have a motion.
We have a second.
Yeah.
And so now we just need to call for a vote. All right.
Well, you have a motion and a second.
Discussion, and now we can call for a vote.
Okay, so can I just say something just for the
We're still in discussion.
order? So if we vote on this and it doesn't pass it, that's it. I personally, just for the record, I do not feel comfortable voting this evening, so I would probably be like Councilor Russo-Moroff, and I would more than likely abstain or, my recommendation would be that we allow this to go back to the Economic Development Committee for the recommendation and then vote on it on the 14th. Whatever mid-month is. That would be my recommendation. 20th.
So,
We don't have the votes tonight.
okay. So we need more, so what I'm going to take the word of the council. Please help me with the technical part of
Sure,
this.
so you have a pending motion that's been
To withdraw it.
motioned, and then you have a second, so you can make a motion to withdraw it, and then.
Right, and it's my motion too, so.
Provided that there's no objection, it's withdrawn. If there's an objection, then there can be a motion to overrule the objection, which can be seconded and voted on by the council.
Right, so I'm taking the consensus of the council and kind of looking, I will withdraw my motion,
I will withdraw my second.
withdraw her second, so then that wipes that out. This will stay in the Economic Development Committee,
So the motion never happened.
Motion never happened. We're asking with good faith, I'm asking as the president of the council with good faith that the Economic Development Committee will please meet before the upcoming meeting. And then I'm asking at that time, we get that recommendation, and I hope that we can vote on this at that time so that we can still meet some of the requests that they've made of us to have this done before Jan 1. May I ask one other thing of the council? Is there any additional information that you need to ponder on that are today? I mean, so any additional information that you need to be provided while we have the folks here that can maybe help you come to, some sort of consensus, in the next meeting. If there's anything else that could be added, this would be a good time to ask. I want to make sure everybody has all the info that they need.
No, but these types of details is what we needed like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. But this is the type of information, I can only speak for myself, that I need to feel good about what I'm voting for. So I appreciate all the details, and I know sometimes people get afraid of giving us too many details, but when it comes to stuff like this, for me, I need the details, so I appreciate it. So I'm processing it, I just need a little time to do that, but I do appreciate it.
Well, we're definitely allowed that, so we can move on with the agenda then, right? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, we appreciate it.
And we're happy to answer any questions. As I said before the public hearing, we had someone concerned about the environment and what we're doing. We gave them a tour and made sure we answered their questions. So if anyone ever has any questions, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but you can email us or contact us anytime between now and then, or if you prefer to send it to President Giles and have him forward it to us, that's fine. But it would, so we can be prepared as well. So we're happy to answer any questions you have, and we want to be as transparent as possible.
Please make sure everybody has it before you leave here. Leave your information with the clerk, and then she will make sure that all of us have that, so folks can reach out if need be.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, and it was very informative and educational. I really, really, truly do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is really much more information needed. So we do need time to process this.
Process and everything. Thank you so much, though, guys. We appreciate it. You can if you like, or yeah, sure. If you got those, just slip it around the room here, but we'll try to move this thing forward, okay? For respect people's time. All right. We are now new business. Proposal number 15. That's a long one. Could the clerk please read by title, please?
Proposal number 15, 2023, introduced by Councilor Denny and Wells, a proposal for an ordinance concerning the construction of additions and improvements to the waterworks of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, the issuance of revenue bonds to provide the costs thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of said waterworks, the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of said revenue bonds, other matters concerned therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to ask, thank you so much. I'm going to ask Mr. Salisbury to make a quick, give us an overview of what exactly this is all pertaining so folks can get an understanding of this.
Okay, thank you very much. So what we have here is, and I will say that by what Kathy just read there, it's a little misleading. We're not building anything, and what this is about is a requirement by the EPA that every utility perform a lead service line inventory by October of 2024. And so this grant is through the Indiana Finance Authority, and it is a grant. They're calling it a forgivable ban. And it does have to include a funding agreement and an actual ordinance, which is why you have all that language there. I won't pretend to be able to explain all the technical financial details. All I do know is that we have spoken with the IFA. We have also run this through a bond counsel attorney with Barnes and Thornburg. And this is a grant. It does not obligate the city to or the utility to pay this money back. And so what it's all about is it's $400,000 that's going to help us move us towards complying with that EPA directive by the deadline indicated. So we feel it's kind of a no-brainer. But unfortunately, my technical guy from Wessler is on an airplane right now. He won't. He may have landed by now, but he obviously won't make the meeting. But at any rate, I have a letter that was sent to all of you, and you should actually all have copies of the funding agreement and all that. So we're just looking for an approval of this proposal so we can move forward with this work and get it done by the deadline.
Thank you, Scott, for that. It's my understanding too, is it true that we were one of the few cities that completed the application, and so if we get this accepted this year, we will get a full the full max amount, where if we wait till next year, we would be in a it would be more competitors in the box, from what I was.
That is correct, sir. Thanks to our diligent engineering cohorts with Wessler Engineering, we got our information in early, we got our application in early, and we got approved. So right now, this is just the paperwork end of things. But yes, that's exactly right. If we prolong this and then more and more utilities start submitting, then right, we're probably going to get considerably less, maybe even none.
Right. Okay. Do I need to? Do I need to suspend the rules?
Yes, you do.
Yes. I would like to entertain a motion to suspend the rules so we can vote on this on first reading.
I'll make the motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Second it.
Second. I think Russell got you a second, Councilor Russell. Councilor Russell with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Wait, I have a question.
I'm suspending the rules. I'm sorry. Now we need to entertain a motion to approval. Sorry.
You go. You do this one.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Awesome. A motion. Second. Second, Councilman. So motion, Councilor Russo-Moroff. Second, Councilor Russell. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. All right. Great job. Citizen comments.
Got it. Rick, need that proposal back.
You need what?
Oh, I gave him the cover sheet to sign.
Okay. He'll get it to you. Thank you, Rick.
I need the proposal back.
You hear that, Rick?
I need the proposal back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. All right, Mr. Daniel Rapp. This is that school.
Okay, where's your signature at? Right here.
Hello, sir.
Daniel Rapp at 5718 Wallingwood Drive. Mike, I didn't realize it was going to be a comment section. My concern was with proposal number 12 about the compensation for elected offices. For transparency reasons, I would like to see a list of these elected offices and compensation for 2024 listed so that the public would know what they are getting. Or in fact, also, if possible, list the 2023 actuals to see how much of an increase, decrease that is going on. That was what my concern was, is transparency.
Absolutely, sir.
And just read it into the minutes, and then it's there. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was no increase. There was no increase in their proposal.
There's no increase in that elected,
No.
there's no increase.
No, it's not.
Oh, so there's no wage increase in it?
Nope.
Okay.
Same as 2023.
Okay, did you hear that, sir? Just to give you an answer. So the elected official, establishing elected official salaries, there's no increase this year from 23 to 24. And I believe in the ordinance would have the actual amount of what we're paid, but we're not getting an increase.
But will it be published in the minutes?
It'll be published in the ordinance, which is
It'll be published in the municipal code, which is online. It's not going to be in the minutes. It's just the title.
is there a way that we can, so what is the best way for the,
Online. It's online.
Yeah.
right, but I want to make it a little easier.
We're online, because I've Googled it and looked on the City of Lawrence webpage, and I've never found it.
Right, what the wages are. I don't even know how much I make, to be honest with you. I don't.
You can show them after the meeting.
Okay, we'll show you where it's
I
at.
have a copy of it, if you'd like.
She'll show you, give you a copy of it, you know. Oh, you got an extra copy? You can just give it to him now? No, we appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Seeing no other comments, meeting adjourned.